Hey everybody, we are back for one final dance with Hennery. Start off, I'm taking you to Dummy13toys.com. This was what I figured out. Dummy13 version 1. I'm going to link to this website because this is the original artist's site for their models. Dummy13 version 1, the new and improved version of Dummy13. Super expressive, infinitely customizable figure that took printers and dropshippers by storm. Link goes to printables. And here you can download. The artist is Sousaphone. Voicing over this part right here because I did a lot of chopping. So Dummy13 is a very articulated model. Comes on two of these, they call them runners. I would have called them sprues. Maybe that's an old-fashioned thing. I don't know. But you get one with the frame, one with the armor, which is like the body parts. And the frame is incredibly articulated. Think Gundam levels of articulation. You got the files you can download on the runners or on 3D printer plates, or you can download the individual parts. For our example, we need the head right here. If you do this, I would say support Sousaphone. I haven't yet, but I will. I promise. Just because this model, it's the 13th iteration. So Sousaphone didn't like 12 different versions of this until they got to number 13. And that's a lot of work. They deserve some credit. So we downloaded the head. We're back in Blender. We're going to import. Look around, look around. Way too many projects. We're going to import. Fun with pixels. The Hennery from a previous video sculpted and turned into quads. The Hennery T-pose. Then we're going to import, once I find where I put it. Oh, I also sped this up because I lost where I had downloaded the head. There we go. So we've got Dummy13's armor head and Hennery in a T-pose. This isn't a Blender tutorial. I sped this up also. But basically, I'm going to line up the armor head with Hennery's head, making sure the necks line up pretty good. The neck hole on the armor head and Hennery's neck. Then, even though I converted to quads, the quads are not lined up very well. That is a problem, I guess you could say, with sculpting. If I had redone the topology, things would have been different, but I didn't. Sue me. But you can see what I'm doing here is removing, splitting the head off the body, and then for this project, I don't need the body. Lining the head back up. But my plan for this experiment requires that the head be a manifold mesh. So I'm going to select all the jagged parts on the bottom, drop the scale to 0, fill in any blanks, and then I'm going to fill the open spot, which is something you can do in Blender that isn't, it's not good modeling practice, it's not good technique. The way I did it is not good modeling or technique, but it got the job done quickly for the purpose of this experiment. Then there are several different ways I could do this, but I chose to make a cube, line it up with that inner slot, and make a Boolean where I subtract the head, the armor head from it. Then I remove the excess. So basically I have, you know what, I could have probably used the frame parts for this instead of using the armor head. That would have probably been easier. But again, in order to do the Boolean, I need to make this a closed off mesh. So I fill in the blanks, do some extruding, do some filling. I'm going to have to retry this using the actual parts from the frame instead. So I have that, and that should basically fit into the armor head. Then scale up Hennery's head, do another Boolean, and cut that piece out. Remove the excess again. Fill in the blanks to make it a closed, mostly manifold mesh. Again, if someone wants to go through with their own model and redo the topology if they know how. I mean, if I had just stuck with the triangles that Nomad Sculpt had given me, things would have been a lot worse. So I'm checking the manifold here. I have some non-manifold edges. I clean them up, and now I only have 8, which is kind of acceptable for printing. Oh yeah, hint, hint, we're printing. Export the STL as Hennery's head and pop into Orca Slicer. New project, import the STL of Hennery's head. Then I'm going to need to import the frame piece. Yes, the frame piece. Scale it up to 200% like I had printed my Dummy13. And you'll see all that in a minute. Line everything up. Make sure it looks like it's going to fit. Make sure the scale I set for Hennery's head looks like it's going to fit. What are we doing here? Oh, yeah. So I figured out that I couldn't find a wireframe in Orca Slicer, so I brought the frame piece in, the neck frame piece, or head frame piece, and set it for 200% scale, or twice as big, and then scaled Hennery's head accordingly. Once I've got that all happy. Oh, see, I bet you it will go up higher. You'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. Then I re-import the new Hennery's head, which is the size that I want. Set the orientation, turn on supports, slice it, and print. Yay, pixels! I might want to invest in a better camera. Here we go. Alright. Here is my messy workbench with some of my prime arts, some UV resin, some other stuff. Not really a workbench so much as an art bench. And here is the, wow, the Dummy13 I printed at 200% scale in the slicer, which in Blender should have been ×2. Very articulated, very flexible, very awesome model. And here is what just printed Hennery's head. Because I was working on a TPU project, I had TPU on my printer and I just printed it in TPU. So the supports will be a pain in the butt to get off of here, which is why I've got my, what are they called, side nippers, flat nippers, whatever you want to call them. But first we'll try doing this. If this becomes a chore, I will speed it up. The video, I mean. I changed some settings again, so hopefully the supports come off a little bit easier. And as I look at my workbench in the background, it occurs to me that if I keep doing videos like this with artsy stuff involving my art bench, I will be cleaning it, which I should do anyway. Oh, that does not look good at all, does it? Also, because I did the camera setting so that the head docked itself in the back corner so you could actually see the time lapse, we have all these flyaways, which it's hair, it's close enough. But once we get some of these flyaways off, I wonder if a lighter would work. Hang on, I have a lighter. I don't know if I can show that on YouTube or not, but we'll try at least cleaning his face up a little bit. Standard lighter. Okay, you can kind of see that we've got a Hennery going on here. But now the real question, let's see if this will help inside his head. Not really. The real question, I've never tried taking a Dummy13 apart. So will the head just pop off? I might have to. Oh, look at that. Okay, now if I did this right, which I did, will this fit? Oh my. It could use a little tweaking. Obviously it needs a little paint. Is that as far down as it goes, or is that just because of the bad print? It won't snap in probably because it's TPU, but we prime, we paint, we go to a second-hand store and find some old doll clothes. Put the different hand on. And we've got Henry with his head on the back, hand on the back of his head, reading his book. And this, I believe, is how we can take those models. I mean, technically you can do this with any model. You could do it a lot better than I did. But your AI models, your prime arts, you could make them articulated. And you saw it didn't take me long. And again, it's not great, but if I had spent some real time on this, think of how it would have turned out. There we go. Hennery. Because my tripod is so short, I will have him sit and look at you as he waves goodbye. Another point I'd like to make before I sign off, back to the Lucky13toys.com and Sousaphone, the designer. I mean, you can scroll through this at your leisure. Other models, pencil pole arms. I mean, who wouldn't want some pencil pole arms, right? Claws, printables. A benchy with legs and cannons. Printables. Posable skeleton army. Look at how cute they are. Battery buddy. Articulated figure. Batteries. Articulated figures. Dragonflies. Little cube guy. A really nice articulated spider. Paid models. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. The M13 Thor. I plan on purchasing this at some point. Posable artist model. Look at that. It's just like Dummy13. But okay. So I mentioned that, the sky's the limit now. We know that we can take pretty much any model, but going back to one of the previous videos where I was ranting about building a bond with AI characters, AI chatbots. Top 3 questions. Customizing. This is what I wanted to look at. But any figure you can dream up and use Maker World Maker Lab to put it together. You can chop it apart, use the individual pieces from Lucky 13, and remake the armor into your figure. So, Sousaphone says, customizing, where can I find remixes and mods? Check the model download page on printables and head to the remixes tab. How can I make my own remixes? However you want. Sousaphone is, did I say that right? Yeah, Sousaphone is open to the idea of customizing and remixing. So let's just do that so I can make my point clear. We'll go to the printables page and we're remixes, 848. Cat Girls, Spammy 97, not sure what that is. Railgun Arms, Wings, conversion, not sure what it's for. Spiked Knuckle Busters, a Claw Pack, Metroid Suits, an Axolotl Head. On Maker World, if you look up Dummy13 and just scroll through the list, you'll find that there is an artist, a maker, who has made realistic, like instead of the body armor, that sounds dumb, the armor runner with your standard, like it's red here. Oh, here we go. The armor and the, not armor, what's it called? The frame. Armor frame. So this other maker made the armor where it looks like human parts. You know, you've got chest muscles and arm muscles, and I want to say a more human-shaped head. I don't remember for sure, but they also they have like this size one, and then they have a more muscular one for using as an artist's model for more of a superhero comic book style character. So more defined, exaggerated musculature. So you could take your model, like I did with Hennery's head, and you could turn it into anything you wanted. Exosuit frame, I could make Hennery look like a complete human, and then, you know, find some doll clothes or some, you know, some Barbie Ken clothes, something that fits. I think depending on how big you print, like the size I printed, I think some of the old what are they, 1970s, the really tall GI Joe figures, I think those clothes might fit. You can do anything with these. They're highly articulated, and you can make your figures articulated using this method. Something else I've noticed is people, like I printed my Dummy13 at twice the scale as what the files download as. And it's roughly, I'm just going to ballpark because I forgot to measure, 12 inches. And it's not by me right now. So it's about 12 inches. I have seen people print them where they've found the biggest pieces and maxed them on their build plates and then scaled everything accordingly. And I've seen Dummy13s 3-4 feet tall. And that's where we start getting into the, if you blend the pieces like in chunks, or even some slicers allow you to split the pieces right in the slicer to fit on your printer. That's where we get to the point where I was joking with my friend about printing a Dummy13 with, we'll just say, Hennery's body, full size, sitting in the passenger seat. It's all possible. And with this particular, with Dummy13, this frame, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to get all of the joints to be excessively articulated. That's the point I was trying to make. Or, yeah. So Hennery is done for now. The steps leading up to it, I've shared them. You know what I did. If not, go back, check out the other videos that involve Hennery. And that's it. I'm calling this project done. Thanks for watching. And if you're a maker and you're going to dive into this, I wish you luck and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Bye.